So we getting a Rhonda overload. So I listened to, if you listen to the Diary of CEO, the one that I went through with you guys, that Rhonda is a Rhonda I was more receptive to be more understanding of where she was coming from. Now the Rhonda on Steve-O, which we're going to talk about now, does Rhonda absolutely no goddamn favors, child. So in the Steve-O interview, first of all, Steve-O sounds terrible, but watching years of him destroy himself with drugs from the inside, I was a wonder Steve-O's alive. So I didn't even know he had a podcast until just now. It just came up on my thing. His podcast is called Steve-O's Wild Ride. Pretty popular. Looks like it got a million, over 1.8 million subscribers. They talk about concussions. She's concussed. She talked about, again, there's a history of dementia and Alzheimer's in her family, but then she also mentioned that her sons play football. People, I just don't understand, the logic behind that. It's just some things that just shouldn't be happening. I don't give a fuck if the helmet was made of vibranium. You only got one brain, and if you're moving it in your skull, you're causing some serious damage, especially young developing minds. But you know what? That's the social worker talking, and I try to implement that here, and some of you might feel like it's preachy, but it is what it is. So she went on to talk about her concussions and stuff like that, and that segues straight into WWE.
I'm really, really good at protecting myself from crazy falls.
First, right? What do they make that
Yeah, you does a
slam?
slap. Yeah, you try to slap the ground like right before you hit it, like dispel it. It's kind of like if you imagine that you're falling on glass and you're trying not to break the glass. Like you're trying to not take all of the impact in one part of your body. You're trying to spread it.
Yeah.
And so no, I never really felt that bad, like taking a bunch of falls and impacts and stuff during WWE. It was just all fun, especially it was in competition. You guys were working together. I had a great time. I mean, it was more like the management and everything, and like they wouldn't. It's such like a disorganized shit show, dude. Like you can't. They won't work with you to develop any matches. They'll like literally tell you what you're doing last minute. Like most of the time, you can't even rehearse it, and you have to like talk to somebody in like a hallway about what you're gonna do for a match, and then you go out there and do it for the first time, and it's just like you can do such better matches if you're allowed to prepare and rehearse, and like you can't like try something new that you haven't done with somebody before, because you don't have a chance to practice it. And so
what do they tell you before, like just how many minutes you are to go?
Yeah, they'll be like, you have 10 minutes including your entrances. And so that's basically you have an 8-minute match, and you need this to be a finish, and you can't do, power slams or this or that because other people are doing those things tonight. And you'll be like, okay, what about this match? And then they'll be like, no, for some random reason.
I tell you what, that's been said. We already know Vince used to fuck up stuff. That's a testament to those wrestlers, because they're in there calling spots and we hear them calling spots, and they probably, did rehearse, and then they come in to do Raw or SmackDown, and then you got this old fucker in your ear talking about, we're not doing that, you're doing this, and then SmackDown comes on in the next 10 minutes and you got to go in a corner and do some type of verbal practice, and then go out and do it, and then have it translate across TV or to the audience as if you've done this already. That's probably why those matches are usually so simple, because they didn't rehearse. Now, when it gets technical and stuff like that, it's because it was planned ahead. But when you just getting the usual big boot and, a hurricanrana here and there and some chin locks and stuff, it's probably because it was last minute for a lot of those matches. So that's really interesting to hear. I could agree with her that can be nerve-wracking. Yeah, I think that Rhonda thought she was going to come in, and I do believe she thought there was going to be a little bit of catering to her. I do think she does agree that it's fake. scripted, whatever you want to call it. The physicality is not fake. I don't think she was prepared for that. If you hear someone gagging in the back, my child is trying to bring up Slim, so excuse him. I don't think she was prepared for... I don't know what she thought. These companies all run the same. Like, they're run by rich, middle-aged white men who don't give a fuck and want their dick wet. Like, I don't know what she thought was going to happen. Maybe because, again, she came in and it was cushioned with Stephanie and Triple H, and they wanted her to be successful. And then when she got with Vince, it was like, I'm gonna bring this bitch down a peg or two. I just think she kind of was a little bit taken aback that we're gonna treat you like everybody fucking else. That sounds like she just got treated like any other damn wrestler. And towards the end of her wrestling career, that's exactly how she felt. Coming across TV, she felt like any other wrestler.
Always like that? I mean, like, you know, back in the Ultimate Warrior days and Hulk Hogan, or is it more planned out, or it's because it's evolved so much that they're just like, you know, get it going?
Now, I don't know why he asked her that. Ronda, listen, this woman was not watching the Ultimate Warrior Hulk Hogan. I don't know why he asked her that, and I'm about to see what she says, because we're kind of listening to this together. I'm pretty sure it worked the same way, especially when I watched that True Life with Triple H in China. They were talking about how you got to be ready, nothing stays the same, everything's changing all the time. Beyond the Mat said the same thing. It was a couple other documentaries about wrestling, pro wrestling I watched. They all said the same thing. So I'm not really sure why he asked her that. Let's see what she says.
I mean, I feel like that was like the traditional way that a lot of guys do it. Like, oh, we'll just call it out there. But
so they were just on the fly back then too.
I mean, it kind of started as like people basically doing a sparring session and just letting somebody else win, and then it turned into, you know, like more of a performance. And then, but like a lot of like the old fashioned guys, like Hulk Hogan gave you this advice. He's like, oh kid, you got to keep your boots on the ground, which means you want to do as little risky things as possible, put as few miles on your body as possible for every performance. But I'm like I get that if this is what you want to do for as long as possible, but like I just want to do like super awesome fucking matches, you know.
The fact that she took Hulk Hogan's advice, there you go. That's why your whole career fucked up. Why are you talking to Hulk Hogan? Number one, you didn't study. It don't sound like she studied. It sounded like somebody was offering her a whole lot of money to play around, and she got the short end of the stick at the end of the day because no one was licking her ass. That's what it sounds like. Because that's just dumb. I don't even know why he asked her that question. Why he asked her that is beyond me.
Oh, not a competition. Which a lot of like wrestlers and stuff will be like, wrestling's real. I got this injury or that injury or this injury or that injury. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, as a competitor in like an actual sport, I'm never like worried about getting injured. I'm worried about losing. Like that's the most stressful part of it. Not like, oh my god, am I getting injured? I remember I like exploded like I exploded my knuckle and broke my thumb beating Alexis Davis. Yes, in 16 seconds. And I walked out giving everybody high fives and all this stuff. And afterward, I like go backstage. I'm like, I think there's something wrong with my hand, man. Like there's something going on. But like injuries are not at all what you're thinking about. That's not what makes it real. That's not what makes it hard. It's the uncertainty of the outcome. So like when people are like, oh, it's a real sport. I'm like, no, it's not a sport. It's a very intense performance, which I have a lot of respect for. But it's not a sport. Like, if you've ever dealt with the stress and anxiety that comes with competition, you can't take that out and call it a sport.
So this is where people get pissed off with Ronda. Because now you have actual athletes. Now I can understand, you might could say that if everybody came off the street, like, I don't know, whoever comes off the street and just says, I want to be a wrestler. Everybody so far, since I've been watching wrestling, comes from athletic background to where those motherfuckers blew out quads, calves, feet, neck, tongue, broke their necks and shit to put on a match, and for you to say it's not a sport is a little bit disrespectful. For you to say it's an intense dance when you have someone like Kurt Angle, who, for all intents and purposes, wrestled with a broken neck. He wrestled with a broken neck at the highest level of wrestling in the Olympics. Big E got his neck broke. Do you want to tell him, no, it's not a sport, we were just dancing super intensely and I broke my neck? Do you want to tell Bianca Belair, who got a boot to the face, oh, well, you missed a step in the dance, and so the boot to the face is what you get? Do you want to tell, I don't know, somebody like Triple H, who Cody Rhodes, who wrestled with a pec exploded, even though he did that outside of the ring? Oh, well, you're just gonna dance real hardcore, so try not to get hit in the titty while someone's taking a chair and smushing you in the titty. Do you want to tell somebody like Seth Rollins, who is the MVP of WrestleMania 40, who's probably going to be out for a very long time, to recoup, that all he's doing is an intense dance? I don't even think Seth Rollins actually comes from sports. I think he's the guy who did the backyard shit. He's extremely talented and athletic. All these people come from sports. The Rock, football. Football's big in WWE. Basketball, gymnastics. These motherfuckers know what it is to be intense at the highest level of competition. I don't understand what she's saying. This is why people don't want to fuck with Ronda.
Being interviewed by that guy, and he asked him if it was fake, and then he just beat the shit out of him. You ever see that?
I remember that being a story like 5 years ago or something?
Maybe a little bit longer, but he was like, is it fake? Is it fake? And he just,
Yeah.
But I mean, was him beating the shit out of him an actual wrestling match, or was that just
it
a
was
dude?
Backstage, a guy.
Yeah, so that's just a guy beating up somebody backstage. That doesn't prove his point.
Huh. Yeah,
like,
well,
is this thing over here real? Because I'm going to beat you up in the hallway. I'm like, how are these two things related?
So that's
okay. So let me see her logic, because I remember Finn from Law and Order had his own talk show. Richard Belzer, I think his name is, and infamously Hulk Hogan, because Richard Belzer was playing with him, and Hulk Hogan put him in a chokehold, let him drop and crack his skull. He got a lot of money from that. Was that fake? So what the wrestler is trying to translate, and I know who he's talking about, I forget who it was because the guy slapped him. Probably was Arn Anderson. The guy's like, wrestling's fake or whatever, so the dude said, is it fake? And slapped the shit out of him like, is that fake? Because that's what I'm doing. Wrestlers don't want you calling it fake because the physicality of it is not fake. That is it. I don't understand why she's not connecting the two. I could sit here and say MMA is fucking fake, because who's to say that shit ain't rigged? Who's to say Logan Paul fighting Floyd Mayweather, is that actual boxing? Would you call that boxing because Logan Paul is fighting Floyd Mayweather is boxing? Logan Paul's brother's about to fight Mike Tyson if they already didn't. Is that boxing? Or is that a bunch of bullshit that's probably a payday for two people? You gotta, Mike Tyson, not calling washed up, but he's out his prime, about to fight this dude who looking for clicks and views to get a couple $1 million. Is it boxing, or is it just like, what is she talking about? So when you get in the ring and get kicked in the head, that's real. But you in the ring and get smacked and get a concussion, that's not real, because it's wrestling. It's pro wrestling as opposed to someone kicking the blood out your head. I don't know about that, Rhonda. I don't know what to do with that.
I'm not, out to bag on it. I have tremendous respect for wrestling. And how about Logan Paul? Like him or dislike him, that dude fire. Is a performer in the WWE. I mean,
he's great on the mic. He does a great job on the mic. But I wish that I was allowed the time to rehearse that he gets, because it's not evenly spread. You know what I mean? Like, some people get it. Oh, like he's like their next big star, They're rolling out the red carpet, which is like, it goes to show that if you give people the time to rehearse and the resources, you can do amazing things, you know, and it's frustrating that like everybody doesn't get that treatment, because like my first match with them was incredible because we had like 6 weeks to rehearse, all the best minds in the business coming and putting like their, you know, giving their 2 cents, and it was like an instant classic, and it was just like, then they never did it again. And I'm like, why isn't this the model? And they're doing that with Logan Paul, and he's having these fantastic performances. And it's like, look what you guys can do when you actually put organization and like effort into things, you know. And
didn't I just say that Rhonda feels like they just let her swim on her own? She literally just said that. Logan Paul is getting all of this stuff because they're doing all this practice. First of all, you don't know what kind of practicing they're doing. Secondly, you can hear them calling spots in the ring. Thirdly, he already explained that this is some of the hardest shit he ever done in his life, and he'd rather get punched in the face. Again, Rhonda inadvertently tells you the truth without telling you exactly what she wants to say. She wanted to be the Logan Paul. She wanted that 2018 feeling. She wanted that the whole time she was in WWE. Now, Logan Paul signed a regular contract. I'm pretty sure, well, he's under Triple H now, so maybe not. But if he signed a regular contract, who's to say they might not? Listen, Logan, you got to go do this on your own now, man. You got to figure this out. Mind you, he got the same belt, the same red carpet, the same schmooze fest that she got in 2018. But she's mad because they no longer gave that to her. I really think that Vince wanted to bust her down a peg or two, which is unfortunate. But the cockiness, and you know this, old men don't like no cocky bitches. Now they like to put their cock in them, but they don't like them to be talking and shit. Rhonda likes to talk and throw her balls around. Vince McMahon wasn't gonna let her do that. Here's the thing. This is where I think Rhonda is getting a disservice in these interviews. All of the taglines is WWE's a mess, WWE kiss my ass, WWE go fuck themselves. Once you get away from the WWE talk, she got a lot of stuff that's very interesting that's going on. She runs a farm. I think she has like some land in Hawaii where she's about to, you know, fuck it up and run up the money for the the locals can't live, but that's another conversation. So she's deep into sustainable. She raises her own stuff. She has a cat. Like, she kind of showed some of this on Total Divas, which was a complete disaster that last season, and then it just never came back on. She went on Total Divas, it was a complete disaster. WWE tried to get Rhonda over with the audience. Rhonda, her personality is not that. They tried to get all they could get out of her before she left, and her personality is not that. Rhonda should have never went to the WWE, and when she did go, it was to come out with The Rock, do a couple hip throws, a high five, and go. Come out, be a main attraction. Oh, Rhonda, cool, and go. When you got in the woods, everybody figured out you didn't know what the fuck you were doing, and they wanted that to happen. I think a lot of this is outside of Triple H and Stephanie in the 2018, where they had everything revolving around Ronda Rousey. She was the biggest thing in WWE. They had her all over the place. She came back. Her and Brock Lesnar ruined WrestleMania. When she came back and pointed after she gave birth, everybody was like, oh my God. What's the thing they did? Put the belt on Ronda immediately. So for her to complain about Logan Paul is a joke. Somebody said it best, and I think that's going to be the title of this video. A Masterclass on Delusion. A Masterclass of Delusion is Ronda Rousey. I'm done. I think Ronda has wore me out. This will be my most likely, hopefully, the last video on Ronda. Tell me what you think in the comments later.